Unit 5, Day 10, Factoring. Today we are going to factor more trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So if we look at example 1 and they ask us to factor x squared minus 8x plus 15. We know the very first thing that we look for when we factor is a greatest common factor. Is there a greatest common factor between x squared, negative 8x, and 15? No. So we need to form our two parentheses. When we factor, what two things multiply to give us x squared? X times x. What two things multiply to give us a positive 15? So we have 1 and 15. 2, it's not divisible by 2, it's divisible by 3 times 5. So in order to get positive 15, we can multiply 1 and 15 or 3 and 5 together. So let's try positive 3 and positive 5. Well, when we distribute those, we get x times x is x squared, x times 5 is positive 5x, 3 times x is positive 3x, and 3 times 5 is positive 15. But when I combine my like terms, I get a positive 8x in the center, and we needed a negative 8x. So these factors do not work. So let's take a look, and what could we have done differently to get a negative 8? Well, looking at this last sign, a positive 3 and a positive 5 multiplied together get us a positive. But if we had a negative 3 and a negative 5, they would also multiply to get a positive. So let's try again. This time we're going to use a negative 3 and a negative 5. And then we know that x times x is x squared. So when we distribute this out to check, x times x is x squared, x times negative 5 is negative 5x, negative 3 times x is negative 3x, and negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15. When we combine our like terms, we get x squared minus 8x plus 15. We check to make sure they match. We put our smiley face. And we know that the factors of x squared minus 8x plus 15 are x minus 3 and x minus 5. So if your constant is a positive and the middle term is a negative, both factors must be negative. Let's look at the next example. So if we have 2x squared plus 3x minus 5, is there a GCF? No, so then we go straight to our factors. What times what multiplies to get 2x squared? 2x times x are our only options. What times what multiplies to get negative 5? Well, we have negative 1 and 5, or we have 5 and negative 1. So let's try negative 1 and 5. When we distribute that out, we get 2x squared plus 10x minus 1x minus 5. We combined our like terms in the middle and we get 9x. So those factors did not work. So let's try rearranging it. So we have 2x and x are our only choices, but then let's try positive 5 and negative 1. Distribute 2x squared minus 2x plus 5x minus 5. When we combine our like terms, we get 2x squared plus 3x minus 5. And we check to see if they match. They match, so the factors of 2x squared plus 3x minus 5 are 2x plus 5 and x minus 1. So the more and more we practice, the better you're going to be. So now I want you to take a second and observe what patterns you see. Tomorrow in class, we are going to discuss and come back to these notes to discuss the patterns we see. if we look at 6x squared minus 7x plus 2, and they ask us to factor, we're going to, the things that multiply after we look for a GCF, and we see that there is not one, we're going to say, what multiplies to get 6x squared? Well, we have 1x and 6x, or we have 2x and 3x. So this one could potentially be a lot of guessing and checking. We then need what multiplies to get a positive 2. Well, we could have a positive 1 and a positive 2, or we could have a negative 1 and a negative 2. So when we try our answers, I'm going to try 2x and 3x, and I'm going to try negative 1 and negative 2. So I get 6x squared when I check, minus 4x minus 3x plus 2. And I see that 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. Oh wow, that was such a good guess on my first try. It worked. When I have 9x squared minus 25, I look for a GCF first, and I notice that there are none. Then I'm going to say 1x times 9x, or 3x times 3x. Multiples of 25 are 1 and 25, 2, no, 3, no, 4, no, 5, and 5. So I'm going to try 3x plus 5 and 3x minus 5. So remember, 25 needs to be negative, so your signs need to be opposite. So when we check this, 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 5 is negative 15x. 3x times positive 5 is positive 15x. And 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. Oh wow, look, my center terms equal 0, so they are gone. And I'm left with 9x squared minus 25. So again, I had a good guess on the first try. And my answer is 3x plus 5 and 3x minus 5. So now I'd like you to observe some patterns that you see between those problems so that we can discuss it tomorrow in class.